The summer heat beat down on the quiet neighborhood street as 8-year-old Destiny Williams carefully arranged her plastic cups in neat rows. She had been running her lemonade stand for 3 weekends straight now, and she was starting to recognize the pattern of when customers would appear. Mornings were slow, but she didn't mind. It gave her time to make sure everything was perfect. "How's business today, sweetheart?" Her mom called from the porch where she sat in a folding chair with a book, keeping a watchful eye on her daughter. "Not too busy yet," Destiny replied, adjusting the bright yellow tablecloth that covered the wooden table her dad had helped her build. The cloth fluttered slightly in the warm breeze, threatening to upset her careful arrangement of cups. Destiny had begged her parents for weeks to let her run a lemonade stand. Her best friend Zoe had made almost $30 in a single weekend with her stand, and Destiny couldn't stop thinking about all the possibilities. $30 was a fortune to an 8-year-old, especially one with her heart set on the shiny blue bicycle she'd seen at the store downtown. The bicycle had white-walled tires and silver streamers that hung from the handlebars. It was the most beautiful thing Destiny had ever seen, and at $89.99 it might as well have been $1 million. But Destiny was determined. She had already saved $27.50 from her birthday money and doing extra chores around the house. The lemonade stand was her big plan to make up the difference. Her mom had helped her make signs with colorful markers on pieces of cardboard. "Destiny's Fresh Lemonade, 50 c's a cup," they proclaimed in bright letters decorated with yellow suns and blue clouds. Her dad had found the perfect spot at the corner of their front yard, where the sidewalk met the street, making it easy for people walking by to stop. Destiny opened her notebook, a gift from her third-grade teacher, Ms. Jackson, and looked at her careful records. Last weekend she'd made $12.75, and the weekend before that, $9.50. She was making progress, but it felt so slow. At this rate, it would take the whole summer to save enough for the bicycle. She sighed and adjusted her position on the small stool behind her stand. The pitcher of lemonade sat in a bowl of ice to keep it cold. Her mom had taught her the recipe: fresh lemons, water, and just the right amount of sugar. Not the powdered stuff, but real lemonade that took time to make. Destiny took pride in that. Her product was worth the 50 cents she charged. The morning stretched on with only a few customers. Mr. Chen from 3 houses down stopped by, as he did every weekend. He always told her it was the best lemonade in town. Mrs. Washington, the retired teacher who lived across the street, bought 2 cups and told Destiny she was showing excellent entrepreneurial spirit. Destiny wasn't entirely sure what that meant, but she knew it was good. By noon she had only made $2.50. The sun was getting hotter, and Destiny felt her enthusiasm wilting like the flowers in their garden during a heat wave. Maybe she should pack up early today. Maybe the bicycle would have to wait until Christmas. "You've got this, honey," her mom encouraged from the porch, seeming to read her thoughts. "Don't give up yet. Your dad will be home from the store soon with more ice." Destiny nodded and straightened her shoulders. She wasn't a quitter. She'd stick it out at least until mid-afternoon when most people went inside to escape the heat. She was rearranging her cups again when she first heard it. A low rumble in the distance, like summer thunder. But the sky was clear blue without a cloud in sight. The rumble grew louder, and Destiny looked up, curious about the source of the noise. Her mom must have heard it too, because she put down her book and stood up, shading her eyes to look down the street. "What in the world?" she murmured. The rumble became a roar as the first motorcycle turned the corner onto their street. Destiny's eyes widened. It wasn't just one motorcycle. There were many of them, a whole group riding together. The sun glinted off their chrome and metal parts as they moved like a single flowing river of machines. "Destiny," her mom called, her voice tight with concern. "Maybe you should come inside for a bit." But Destiny stayed frozen behind her stand, watching in fascination as the motorcycles drew closer. She had never seen so many bikes at once. In her neighborhood, most people drove cars or SUVs. These were nothing like Mr. Taylor's little scooter that he rode to work when the weather was nice. These were big, powerful machines in black, red, blue, and silver. And the people riding them looked just as intimidating to Destiny's young eyes. They wore leather jackets despite the heat, with patches and symbols sewn onto them that Destiny couldn't make out. Some had beards, others wore bandanas or helmets. They looked nothing like the people who usually stopped at her lemonade stand. As the first few bikes passed her stand, Destiny felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness flutter in her stomach. She glanced back at her mom, who had left the porch and was walking quickly across the lawn toward her. Several neighbors had come out onto their porches too, watching the unexpected parade of motorcycles with curious expressions. Then, to Destiny's surprise, the lead rider, a large man with a gray beard and arms covered in colorful tattoos, raised his hand. The entire group began to slow down, the roar of their engines decreasing to a low, rumbling idle. They were stopping, right in front of her lemonade stand. Destiny's heart pounded in her chest. She'd heard stories about motorcycle gangs. Tommy from her class was always talking about how his older brother said they were dangerous people who got into fights and did scary things. But as the man with the gray beard turned off his engine and swung his leg over his bike, the smile on his face didn't look scary at all. "Well, what do we have here?" he asked, his voice deep but friendly as he approached the stand. "Lemonade, huh? Just what we need on a hot day like this." Destiny's mom reached her side, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice polite but cautious. The man took off his sunglasses, revealing kind eyes with crow's feet at the corners. "Name's Mike," he said with a nod. "President of the Steel Angels Motorcycle Club. Me and my friends are on our way to a charity ride over in Riverdale, but I think we could all use some refreshment first if the young lady is open for business." Before Destiny or her mom could respond, more motorcycles pulled up and parked along the curb. One by one, their riders shut off their engines, the sudden decrease in noise making the street seem unusually quiet. There must have been at least 15 of them, men and women of different ages, all dressed in similar leather vests with patches. Destiny looked up at her mom, uncertain what to do. Her mom seemed to be studying the group, weighing something in her mind. Then Mike pulled out his wallet and asked, "How much for a cup, young lady?" Finding her voice at last, Destiny replied, 50 cents, sir." Mike laughed, a hearty sound that made some of the tension leave her shoulders. 50 cents? For homemade lemonade on a day like this? That's a bargain." He pulled out a bill and held it out to her. "I'll take 1 cup, please." Destiny looked down at the money in his outstretched hand and blinked in surprise. It wasn't 50 cents. It wasn't even a single dollar. Mike was holding out a $20 bill. I don't have change for that," Destiny said, looking up at him with wide eyes. Mike winked at her. "Keep the change, sweetheart. I have a feeling that lemonade's going to be worth every penny." As Destiny carefully poured lemonade into a cup with hands that trembled slightly from excitement, she noticed more of the bikers approaching her stand. Each one waited patiently in line, watching as Mike took his first sip. "Now that," he declared loudly, "is real lemonade, not that fake stuff from powder." He turned to his friends. "You all gotta try this. Best lemonade in the county, I guarantee it." One by one, the bikers lined up at Destiny's stand. Her mom stayed close, but her posture had relaxed as she watched the friendly interactions. Destiny worked faster than she ever had before, pouring cup after cup, accepting payment after payment. To her amazement, not a single biker gave her just 50 cents. The smallest bill she received was a 5, and most handed her 10s or 20s, just like Mike had. "What's your name, kiddo?" asked a woman biker with short gray hair and arms covered in colorful tattoos. "Destiny," she replied, handing the woman a cup of lemonade. "Well, Destiny, you make a mean lemonade. Got a special recipe?" Destiny nodded proudly. "My grandma taught my mom and my mom taught me. We use real lemons and a secret ingredient." The woman smiled. "A secret ingredient, huh? Those are the best kind." As the last biker received their lemonade, neighbors who had been watching from a distance began to approach cautiously. Mrs. Washington came over first, then the Rodriguez family from down the block. Soon a small crowd had gathered, watching in amazement as the leather-clad bikers chatted and laughed, enjoying lemonade from small paper cups that looked tiny in their hands. Destiny couldn't believe what was happening. Her quiet lemonade stand had turned into the most exciting event her street had seen in years. And her money box was filling up faster than she could have imagined. Mike finished his lemonade and approached Destiny again. "So, young entrepreneur," he said with a smile, "what are you saving up for? Must be something pretty special." Destiny's face lit up. "A blue bicycle at Hank's bike shop downtown. It has streamers and a bell and everything." "A worthy goal," Mike nodded approvingly. "How close are you to having enough?" Destiny looked down at her money box, overflowing with bills. "I think I might be close now. I've never counted this much money before," Mike laughed. "Well, keep at it, kid. Determination like yours deserves to be rewarded." As the bikers began to return to their motorcycles, Destiny's street had transformed. What had started as a quiet Saturday with a lonely lemonade stand had become something entirely unexpected. And looking at the faces around her, the bikers, her neighbors, her mom, Destiny realized that something impossible had indeed happened. Not just the money in her box, but the way a group of strangers had brought her whole neighborhood together on a hot summer day. The bikers didn't just drink their lemonade and leave. Instead, they seemed in no hurry at all, gathering in small groups on the sidewalk and lawn around Destiny's stand. Mike, the gray-bearded leader, pulled up an empty milk crate someone had brought over and sat down next to Destiny's table. "So tell me more about this bicycle you're saving up for," he said, his weathered face breaking into a genuine smile as he finished his second cup of lemonade. Destiny's eyes lit up. "It's at Hank's bike shop downtown. It's blue with white wall tires and streamers that hang from the handlebars, and it has a bell that sounds like a little song when you ring it." She made a ringing motion with her hand, mimicking the sound. "It costs $89.99. Mike let out a low whistle. "That's quite a goal for a young businesswoman. How long have you been running this stand?" "This is my third weekend," Destiny replied proudly. "I've made about $22 so far, not counting today. And I already had $27.50 saved up for my birthday and chores." Destiny's mom approached with a tray of fresh lemonade to refill the pitcher. She had relaxed considerably since the bikers first arrived, especially after seeing how respectfully they treated her daughter and her neighbors. "You've got yourself quite the entrepreneur here," Mike said to her mom. "Reminds me of my daughter Lizzie. She was always coming up with business ideas at this age. Now she's studying business in college, is that right?" Destiny's mom replied, setting down the tray. "What college does she attend?" As Mike and Destiny's mom fell into conversation, more neighbors ventured out to see what all the commotion was about. The Rodriguez family's teenage son Tyler had brought out his phone and was filming the unusual scene. Mr. Chen had returned and was chatting with a female biker about vintage motorcycles. Even grumpy old Mr. Peterson, who usually complained about any noise on the street, had come outside to investigate. "Hey boss," called out one of the bikers, a tall man with a shaved head and a full sleeve of tattoos on both arms. "Shouldn't we be hitting the road soon?" "The charity event starts at 2. Mike checked his watch. "We've still got time, Ray. Besides," he gestured around at the impromptu gathering, "looks like we're having our own little community event right here." Ray laughed and nodded, then turned to an older couple who had just approached him with curious expressions. Soon he was explaining the Steel Angels annual charity ride to them, showing them pictures on his phone of last year's event. Destiny could hardly believe what was happening. Her quiet little lemonade stand had turned into something like a block party. Kids from down the street had brought out a frisbee and were playing on the grassy area of the park across the road. Someone had turned on a portable speaker, and soft rock music drifted through the air. The atmosphere was friendly and relaxed, nothing like what Destiny had expected when the motorcycles first rumbled onto her street. A biker woman with curly red hair approached Destiny's stand. She wore a leather vest covered in patches like the others, but underneath she had on a bright yellow t-shirt that almost matched Destiny's tablecloth. "I'm Trish," she said with a warm smile. "Mike's wife. That's some business you've got going here." "Thank you," Destiny replied, carefully pouring a fresh cup. "Would you like some lemonade?" "I'd love some," Trish said, handing over a $10 bill. "And I was wondering something. Do you have a sign or a name for your business?" Destiny pointed to her handmade cardboard sign that read, "Destiny's Fresh Lemonade, 50 Seawers a cup in colorful marker." "That's a good start," Trish said. "But every successful business needs a real logo. I happen to be a graphic designer when I'm not riding with the angels. Would you like me to design something for you?" Destiny's jaw dropped. "Really, you'd do that for me?" "Of course," Trish said. "I could email it to your mom, and you could get it printed for next weekend. Something that really stands out and catches people's attention." While Destiny and Trish discussed logo ideas, another group of bikers had gathered around Destiny's dad, who had returned from the store with more ice and cups. He was showing them pictures of the custom shelving he'd built for their house, and they were nodding appreciatively. "You've got real talent, man," said one biker with a salt and pepper beard. "I do custom woodworking too. Mostly for motorcycle parts, but the principles are the same." "No kidding," Destiny's dad replied. "I've always wanted to learn more about that. I'm just a weekend hobbyist." I've got a small shop over in Riverdale. You should stop by sometime. I could show you some techniques." As the conversations continued around her, Destiny kept serving lemonade, her money box now so full that bills were sticking out of the top. She had never imagined her stand would be this successful. At this rate, she might have enough for the bicycle and then some. Mike, who had been talking with several neighbors, returned to Destiny's stand. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "the Steel Angels have been looking for a good cause to support this summer, beyond our regular charity ride." "What's a cause?" Destiny asked, not familiar with the term. "It's something important that people help with," Mike explained. "Like when we raise money for the Children's Hospital. That's supporting a cause." Destiny nodded her understanding. "And I was thinking," Mike continued, "that helping young entrepreneurs like you might be a perfect cause for us. What would you think about the Steel Angels becoming official sponsors of Destiny's lemonade stand?" Destiny's eyes widened. "What does a sponsor do?" "Well, we could help spread the word about your business. Maybe bring more customers your way. And we could offer advice about running a business, since many of us own our own shops and companies when we're not riding." Mike smiled at her astonished expression. "Would that be something you'd be interested in?" Before Destiny could respond, a commotion near the street caught everyone's attention. A local news van had pulled up and a reporter with a cameraman was making her way toward the gathering. "Is that Channel 7? Destiny's mom asked, looking surprised. "I think Tyler's video might have gotten some attention," Destiny's dad explained. "He said he posted it online and it was getting a lot of views." The reporter, a woman in a neat blazer despite the heat, approached Mike first. "Excuse me, sir. I'm Lisa Wong from Channel 7 News. We received several calls about a heartwarming community gathering here today. Would you mind telling us what's happening?" Mike looked at Destiny and winked. "Well, the Steel Angels Motorcycle Club just happened to stop by the best lemonade stand in town, run by this young entrepreneur right here. And I think we all just realized how much we needed a little community spirit on a hot day like today." The reporter turned to Destiny. "And you are?" "I'm Destiny Williams," she replied shyly. "This is my lemonade stand." "And how did you feel when all these motorcyclists showed up at your stand?" Destiny thought for a moment. "At first I was scared because they looked different from my usual customers. But then they were so nice and they really liked my lemonade." She smiled up at Mike. "And they paid way more than 50 cents. The reporter laughed. "I bet they did. Would you mind if we filmed a segment about your lemonade stand for the evening news?" As the reporter explained what they wanted to film, Destiny could hardly believe this was happening to her. From a quiet morning with barely any customers to being on the local news, all because a group of bikers had chosen to stop at her stand. While the news crew set up their equipment, Trish approached Destiny with a rough sketch on a napkin. "What do you think of something like this for your logo?" she asked. The sketch showed a glass of lemonade with Destiny's name in bold letters arching over it. "Simple but eye-catching, I love it," Destiny exclaimed. "It's perfect, great. I'll work on a digital version tonight and send it to your mom tomorrow." As the afternoon wore on, the Steel Angels began preparing to leave for their charity event. But before they did, they gathered around Destiny's stand one last time. Mike stepped forward, holding his helmet under one arm. "Destiny," he said, "the Steel Angels took up a little collection while we were enjoying your excellent lemonade." He pulled out an envelope from his vest pocket. "We'd like to contribute to your bicycle fund." He handed her the envelope. Destiny opened it with trembling fingers and gasped. Inside was a stack of bills, more money than she had ever seen in her life. "There's enough there for your bicycle," Mike said with a smile. "Plus a good helmet and safety gear, because safety always comes first. And," he added with a wink, "a little extra to put back into your business. Every good entrepreneur knows you have to reinvest some of your profits." Destiny was speechless. She looked from the envelope to Mike and back again. "You don't have to say anything," Mike said gently. "Just promise us you'll keep working hard and following your dreams, and maybe save us some lemonade for when we ride through town again." Destiny nodded, tears of happiness forming in her eyes. "I promise," she whispered. As the bikers mounted their motorcycles and prepared to leave, neighbors gathered along the street to wave goodbye. The Rodriguez family held up a hastily made sign that read, "Thank you, Steel Angels." Mr. Chen took photos with his old film camera. Even Mrs. Washington stood on her porch, applauding as the engines roared to life. Mike led the procession, giving one final wave to Destiny as they pulled away from the curb. The thunder of motorcycles filled the air once more, but this time no one on the street felt afraid. Instead, they watched with smiles as their unexpected visitors departed, leaving behind a neighborhood forever changed by their kindness. Destiny clutched the envelope to her chest, watching until the last motorcycle disappeared around the corner. Her simple lemonade stand had become so much more today. It had brought together people who might never have spoken to each other otherwise. It had shown her that you can't always judge people by how they look. And most importantly, it had taught her that sometimes the most amazing things happen when you least expect them. The next morning, Destiny woke up earlier than usual, the events of yesterday still buzzing in her mind like a happy dream. She sat up in bed and looked at her desk where the envelope from the Steel Angels lay beside her money box. It wasn't a dream after all. She padded downstairs in her pajamas to find her parents already in the kitchen. Her dad was making pancakes while her mom scrolled through something on her phone with a surprised expression. "Good morning, sleepyhead," her dad said, flipping a pancake with a practiced twist of his wrist. "How's our famous entrepreneur today?" "Famous?" Destiny asked, climbing onto a stool at the kitchen counter. Her mom turned her phone screen toward Destiny. "Your lemonade stand is all over the internet. Tyler's video has thousands of views already." Destiny leaned forward, eyes wide as she watched the video. There she was, serving lemonade to Mike and the other bikers. The camera panned around to show neighbors mingling with the leather-clad visitors, everyone smiling and chatting like old friends. "And that's not all," her mom continued, swiping to another screen. "The local news segment aired last night. Look." The news clip showed Destiny explaining her business goals to the reporter, then cut to Mike talking about how the Steel Angels wanted to support young entrepreneurs in the community. It ended with a shot of all the bikers revving their engines before riding away, with Destiny waving from her lemonade stand. "Wow," Destiny breathed, hardly able to believe her eyes. "Do you think people will come to my stand because of this?" Her parents exchanged amused glances. "I think you might need to make a lot more lemonade," her dad said. "And speaking of which, we should probably go to the store and buy more lemons after breakfast." After they finished eating, Destiny's dad helped her count the money from yesterday. When they added it to her previous savings, plus the generous gift from the Steel Angels, Destiny had more than enough for the bicycle she wanted, with plenty left over. "Can we go get my bike today?" she asked eagerly. "I think that can be arranged," her mom said with a smile. "But first you've got an email from Trish." Destiny hurried over to look at her mom's laptop. There in the inbox was an email from Trish with an attachment. When her mom opened it, Destiny gasped with delight. The logo was perfect, her name in bold, friendly letters arching over a glass of lemonade with a slice of lemon on the rim and a cute striped straw. The colors were bright and cheerful, just like Destiny had imagined, but better than she could have created herself. "It's beautiful," she exclaimed. "Can we print it for my stand?" "Absolutely," her mom said. Trish included different sizes and formats. "We can make signs, maybe even t-shirts if you want." While her parents discussed the logistics of printing the new logo, Destiny's phone pinged with a text message. It was from her best friend Zoe. "OMG, just saw you on the news and all over my mom's Facebook. Those bikers look so scary, but they were super nice. Can I help with your stand next weekend?" "You're gonna be so busy," Destiny grinned as she typed back. "Yes, please. Come over later and I'll tell you everything." After a quick trip to the store for supplies, the Williams family headed downtown to Hank's bike shop. As they pulled into the parking lot, Destiny could barely contain her excitement. After weeks of saving and dreaming, she was finally going to get her bicycle. The bell above the door jingled as they entered the shop. Hank himself was helping another customer, but his assistant Tom looked up from behind the counter. "Well, if it isn't the famous lemonade entrepreneur," Tom said with a grin. "We saw you on the news last night." Destiny blushed, still not used to being recognized. "I'm here to buy a bicycle," she said proudly. "The blue one with the streamers?" Tom asked, leading them toward the display area. Destiny stopped in her tracks. "How did you know?" "You've been looking at it every time you come in with your dad," Tom laughed. "I figured it was only a matter of time." The bicycle was even more beautiful than Destiny remembered. The blue paint gleamed under the shop lights, and the white wall tires looked perfect against the shiny spokes. The streamers hung from the handlebars in silver and blue strands, And the bell, when Destiny reached out timidly to ring it, sounded just like the little song she'd imagined. "It's perfect," she whispered. While her dad discussed helmet options with Tom, Destiny circled the bicycle, admiring it from every angle. This was her bicycle. She had earned it herself with her own hard work and determination. Well, and a little help from some unexpected friends. As if summoned by her thoughts, the shop door jingled again and a familiar figure walked in. It was Mike, though he looked different without his leather vest, wearing instead a plain gray t-shirt and jeans. "Thought we might find you here," he said with a warm smile. "Mike," Destiny exclaimed. "What are you doing here?" "The Steel Angels wanted to make sure you got exactly what you needed," he explained. "And I wanted to give you something else." From behind his back, he produced a small package wrapped in bright yellow paper. "What is it?" Destiny asked, carefully taking the gift. "Open it and see," Mike encouraged. Inside was a small license plate that read Destiny in bold letters. "It was designed to attach to the back of a bicycle, so everyone knows it's yours," Mike said, "and to remind you that you earned it yourself." Destiny's mom wiped a tear from her eye as she watched her daughter hug the biker. It was a scene she never could have imagined just days earlier. "There's something else," Mike said once Destiny released him. "The Steel Angels were so impressed with your business sense that we want to make you an honorary member of our club." He held out a small patch with the Steel Angels logo, a pair of motorcycle wings, with a halo above them. "You can put it on your backpack or jacket," he explained. "It means you're under the protection of the Angels, and it means you're part of our family now." Destiny accepted the patch with wide eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, after selecting a helmet blue to match the bike with built-in safety reflectors, safety pads for her knees and elbows, and a sturdy lock. Destiny proudly carried her money to the counter. She counted out the bills herself, beaming with pride as she made her first major purchase. "Would you like to ride it home?" her dad asked as they left the shop. Destiny nodded eagerly. With her dad walking alongside her, ready to catch her if needed, she climbed onto her new bicycle and placed her feet on the pedals. She wobbled a bit at first. It had been a while since she'd practiced on her old too-small bike, but soon found her balance. The feeling of freedom was incredible. The wind rushed past her face as she pedaled, the streamers fluttering behind her. Every push of the pedals took her faster, farther. She rang the bell in sheer joy, its cheerful ding-ding echoing down the street. Mike walked with her mom behind them, both smiling as they watched Destiny's confidence grow with each block. "You know," Mike said, "the Angels are having a family picnic next month. We'd love it if Destiny and your family would join us. She could set up her lemonade stand there too if she wants. There'll be plenty of thirsty bikers." "We'd be honored," Destiny's mom replied. "I have to admit, when I first saw all those motorcycles turning onto our street, I was terrified." "I'm sorry I judged you all so quickly," Mike chuckled. "Don't worry about it. We're used to it. That's why we do so much community work, to show people that bikers aren't all like what they see in movies. Most of us are just regular folks who happen to love motorcycles." When they reached home, Destiny was surprised to find several neighbors waiting on the sidewalk. Mrs. Washington had her camera ready, and Mr. Chen applauded as Destiny rode up on her new bicycle. "We wanted to see the result of your successful business venture," Mrs. Washington explained, "and I brought something for your next lemonade stand day." She held out a handmade sign that read, "The best lemonade in town, as featured on Channel 7 News." "And I brought these," Mr. Chen added, showing her a stack of plastic cups he'd purchased. "You're going to need a lot more of these if the whole town shows up next weekend." Destiny felt overwhelmed by all the support. Just days ago, she'd been a regular kid with a simple lemonade stand, worried she'd never save enough for her dream bicycle. Now she had the bike, a booming business, and more friends than she could have imagined, including an entire motorcycle club. As she parked her bicycle in the garage, carefully attaching the lock as her dad had shown her, Destiny thought about what Mike had said in the bike shop. She had earned this herself. Yes, the Angels had been incredibly generous, but they'd been responding to her initiative, her hard work in setting up the stand in the first place. That night, as she lay in bed listening to the crickets through her open window, Destiny made a decision. She would keep running her lemonade stand, but not to save for anything specific now. Instead, she would save half of what she earned for college, her mom's suggestion, and donate the other half to the children's hospital that the Steel Angels supported, because she had learned something important from her unexpected friends. Success was sweeter when it was shared. The following weekend arrived with a buzz of excitement in the air. Destiny had spent the week planning for what her mom was calling the grand reopening of her lemonade stand. The new logo Trish designed had been printed on a proper sign, sturdy enough to withstand wind and weather. Her dad had reinforced her stand, adding a shelf underneath for extra supplies and a small umbrella attachment to provide shade on hot days. Zoe had arrived early to help, wearing a matching apron that Destiny's mom had made for both girls. They were busy arranging cups and stirring the fresh lemonade when Destiny's dad called from the house. "Girls, come look at this." They rushed inside to find him watching the morning news. To their amazement, the anchor was talking about Destiny's lemonade stand. And in local news, the heartwarming story of a young entrepreneur and a motorcycle club continues to spread. 8-year-old Destiny Williams and the Steel Angels Motorcycle Club became internet sensations last week when the bikers stopped at her lemonade stand. The viral video has now been viewed over 2 million times, and we're hearing reports that people are planning to visit Destiny's stand today from as far away as Springfield. Springfield? Destiny gasped. "That's an hour away." Her dad nodded, looking both proud and slightly overwhelmed. "I think we might need to make more lemonade." By 10 o'clock, when Destiny usually opened her stand, a small line had already formed on the sidewalk. People she'd never seen before waited patiently, many holding phones ready to take pictures. One woman had brought her own daughter, explaining that she wanted to show her what a young business owner looked like. Destiny felt nervous with so many eyes on her, but Zoe squeezed her hand reassuringly. "You've got this," her friend whispered. "Just like any other day, but with more customers." Taking a deep breath, Destiny flipped her closed sign to open and greeted her first customer with a smile. "Welcome to Destiny's lemonade stand. Would you like a cup of fresh lemonade?" What followed was the busiest morning of Destiny's life. She and Zoe worked nonstop, pouring cup after cup while Destiny's parents rushed back and forth from the kitchen with fresh pitchers. The line never seemed to get shorter. For every customer they served, 2 more joined the end. Some people just wanted lemonade, but many wanted to talk to Destiny, to ask about the bikers and tell her how inspiring her story was. Several parents brought their children specifically to meet her, explaining how they were using her experience to teach lessons about entrepreneurship and not judging others by appearances. Around noon, when they were beginning to worry about running out of lemons, the familiar rumble of motorcycles filled the air. Destiny looked up from serving a customer, her face breaking into a wide smile as she saw the Steel Angels turning onto her street. This time, no one in the neighborhood looked afraid. Instead, people waiting in line cheered and took pictures as the bikers parked their motorcycles along the curb. Mike led the group, but today he wasn't alone at the front. Riding beside him was a young woman on her own motorcycle, someone Destiny hadn't met before. "Special delivery," Mike called out as he approached the stand, carrying a large cooler. "We figured you might need supplies." The young woman with him smiled warmly at Destiny. "Hi there. I'm Lizzie, Mike's daughter. I've heard so much about you. Dad hasn't stopped talking about your lemonade all week." "You're the one who's in college studying business?" Destiny asked, remembering what Mike had told her. Lizzie nodded. "That's me. When Dad told me about your stand, I knew I had to meet you. Not everyone has your kind of business sense at 8 years old." As the other bikers unloaded coolers filled with ice, lemons, and bottles of water, Mike explained that they'd come prepared after seeing how much attention Destiny's story was getting online. "We figured you might have a busy day," he said with a wink. "The Angels always look after their own." With the help of the Steel Angels, what could have been an overwhelming day turned into a community celebration. The bikers took turns helping at the stand, telling stories to those waiting in line and directing traffic when the street got too crowded. Lizzie sat with Destiny during her breaks, giving her tips about running a business and listening intently to Destiny's ideas for the future. "You know," Lizzie said thoughtfully, "you could expand beyond just lemonade. Have you thought about offering cookies or other drinks?" Destiny considered this. "I did try selling cookies once, but they got all soft in the heat." "That's a good observation," Lizzie nodded. "Product quality matters. But maybe prepackaged items would work? Or you could partner with a local bakery. By mid-afternoon, the mayor of their town had arrived, drawn by reports of the massive gathering. After buying a cup of lemonade and leaving a $20 tip, she presented Destiny with a certificate declaring her Young Entrepreneur of the Year. As the mayor posed for photos with Destiny and the Steel Angels, a sleek black car pulled up to the curb. A well-dressed man stepped out, scanning the crowd until his eyes landed on Destiny. "That's Gregory Thompson," Destiny's dad whispered to her. "He owns half the businesses downtown." Mr. Thompson made his way through the crowd, nodding politely to people as he passed. When he reached the lemonade stand, he smiled at Destiny and held out his hand. "Miss Williams, I'm Gregory Thompson. I've been hearing quite a lot about you and your business acumen." Destiny shook his hand, trying to remember what acumen meant. It sounded important. "I own the shopping center on Main Street," Mr. Thompson continued, "and I have a proposal for you. We're hosting a small business fair next month, and I'd like to offer you a free booth to showcase your lemonade stand." Destiny's eyes widened. "A real booth? In the shopping center?" "That's right. It would be larger than your current setup, of course. We'd provide the space, and you'd provide your excellent product and entrepreneurial spirit." "What do you say?" Before Destiny could respond, Mike stepped forward, his protective instinct kicking in. "That's a generous offer, Mr. Thompson. But Destiny's just getting started with her business. Maybe we should discuss the details with her parents." Mr. Thompson nodded, looking slightly embarrassed. "Of course. I got carried away with my enthusiasm. It's just that my own daughter is about your age," he said to Destiny. "And when I showed her your story, she was so inspired. I thought this would be a good opportunity for you, but we should absolutely include your parents in the conversation." As Destiny's parents joined the discussion, Lizzie pulled Destiny aside. "This is a big opportunity," she said quietly. "But remember, you don't have to say yes to everything, even if it sounds exciting. The best business owners know when to expand and when to stay focused on what they do best." Destiny nodded, grateful for the advice. She was learning so much, not just about selling lemonade, but about making decisions and navigating the adult world that had suddenly taken notice of her. By the time the sun began to set, Destiny had sold more lemonade than she had in all her previous weekends combined. Her money box had been emptied several times into a secure bag her mom kept inside the house. People were still arriving, having heard about the event throughout the day on social media and local news. "I think it's time to close up shop for today," Destiny's mom suggested gently. "You've had a long day, and there will be other weekends." Though disappointed customers still waited in line, most understood when Destiny put up her closed sign, explaining that she had run out of supplies. Many promised to return the following weekend, and some even left donations for the Children's Hospital Fund that Destiny had started. As the crowd dispersed, the Steel Angels helped pack up the stand. Trish took photos of Destiny with her new sign for the club's social media accounts, while Ray and some other bikers collected trash left behind by the visitors. "You did good, kid," Mike said, ruffling Destiny's hair. "How does it feel to be a business success?" Destiny thought about it for a moment. "Good," she said finally, "but also kind of scary. Everything's happening so fast." Mike nodded understandingly. "That's how it goes sometimes. The important thing is to stay true to why you started in the first place. Remember that little girl who just wanted a bicycle? Don't lose her in all this excitement." That night, after the last of the bikers had left with promises to return soon, Destiny sat on the porch swing with her parents. Her new bicycle gleamed in the porch light, the license plate Mike had given her catching the glow. "What a day," her dad said, shaking his head in amazement. "Are you happy with how everything turned out, sweetheart?" Destiny leaned against her mom's shoulder, tired but content. "Yes," she said softly, "but I've been thinking about something." "What's that?" her mom asked. "All these people came because of the bikers, not just because of my lemonade, and the Steel Angels did so much to help me today. I want to do something for them too." Her parents exchanged proud glances over her head. "I have an idea," Destiny continued, "for the small business fair. What if I share my booth with the Steel Angels? They could tell people about their charity work and maybe get more support for the Children's Hospital." Her dad smiled. "I think that's a wonderful idea. The best partnerships are the ones where everyone benefits." As crickets chirped in the warm evening air, Destiny closed her eyes, feeling the gentle rock of the swing. Her simple lemonade stand had become something so much bigger than she'd ever imagined. But with her parents' guidance and her new friends' support, she felt ready for whatever came next. After all, she was now a business owner, a bicycle rider, and an honorary Steel Angel. And she was just getting started. 1 month later, the small business fair at Thompson Shopping Center was in full swing. Destiny stood proudly behind her professionally made booth, which looked like a miniature version of her lemonade stand, but with much fancier features. The bright yellow awning displayed her logo in bold letters, and a digital menu board showed her offerings, now expanded to include 3 flavors of lemonade: classic, strawberry, and blueberry. Beside her booth, the Steel Angels had set up their own display, filled with photos of their charity work and information about the children's hospital they supported. Mike and several other bikers chatted with visitors, their leather vests drawing curious looks but no longer any fearful ones. "How's business going?" Lizzie asked, stopping by during a break from her own duties. Mike's daughter had been instrumental in helping design the booth and planning for the fair. "Really good," Destiny replied, dropping a handful of bills into her decorated money box. "I've already sold almost as much as I did that whole crazy day on my street." Lizzie nodded approvingly. "That's because you've diversified your product line and found the right venue for maximum customer traffic." She grinned at Destiny's puzzled expression. "Sorry, business school talk. I mean, you're selling different drinks in a place with lots of people walking by." Destiny laughed. "I like learning the grown-up business words." Indeed, Destiny had been learning a lot over the past month. After her story went viral, a local business owner who taught entrepreneurship classes at the community college had offered to mentor her. With her parents' permission, Destiny had started attending special Saturday morning sessions with other kids interested in starting their own small businesses. She'd learned about concepts like profit margins, customer service, and marketing, though her teacher admitted that Destiny had already mastered marketing better than most adults, given how famous her lemonade stand had become. The most surprising development had been the call from the Children's Hospital. After hearing about Destiny's plan to donate half her profits, they'd invited her to visit. She'd been nervous at first, unsure what to expect, but the visit had changed everything. Meeting the kids who were patients there, children her own age and younger who were fighting serious illnesses, had made a deep impression on Destiny. They'd been so excited to meet the lemonade girl they'd seen on TV, asking for her autograph and telling her how her story had made them happy on hard days. Dr. Patel, the hospital director, had shown Destiny the playroom that the Steel Angels donations had helped build. "Your friends have been supporting us for years," she'd explained, "and now you're part of that tradition too." That visit had given Destiny a new purpose for her business. It wasn't just about selling lemonade anymore. It was about making a difference. A familiar rumble of motorcycles brought Destiny back to the present. She looked up to see a group of riders she didn't recognize pulling into the shopping center parking lot. "Friends of yours?" she asked Mike, who was arranging brochures at the neighboring booth. Mike shaded his eyes, looking toward the newcomers. "The Road Warriors," he said with a nod. "Motorcycle club from the next county over. Word gets around in the biker community." The Road Warriors, about 10 riders strong, parked their bikes and made their way toward Destiny's booth. Their leader, a woman with silver streaks in her dark hair and a weathered face that spoke of many miles on the road, approached with a friendly smile. "You must be Destiny," she said. "I'm Tanya, president of the Road Warriors. We heard about what you and the Steel Angels are doing here. Thought we'd come check it out for ourselves." Mike stepped forward to greet Tanya with a hug. "Good to see you, old friend. How was the ride in?" "Not bad," Tanya replied. "Weather's perfect for riding." She turned back to Destiny. "So, young lady, I hear you make the best lemonade in the state. Think you can hook up some thirsty bikers?" For the next hour, members of both motorcycle clubs gathered around Destiny's booth, sampling her different lemonade flavors and telling stories of their rides. Visitors to the fair, initially hesitant to approach a gathering of leather-clad bikers, soon realized this was just part of the unusual charm of Destiny's lemonade stand. "You know," Tanya said to Mike as they watched Destiny confidently handle the growing line of customers, "your club might be onto something here. The Warriors have been looking for a community project too." Mike nodded thoughtfully. "There's a kid in our neighborhood, Tommy, who's trying to raise money for a wheelchair-accessible playground at the park. Maybe your club could help him out like we did with Destiny." "I like that idea," Tanya agreed. "Got his contact info?" As the two biker presidents exchanged information, Mr. Thompson approached Destiny's booth. He'd been checking in with all the businesses at the fair, but he seemed particularly interested in how Destiny was doing. "Quite a success you've got here," he said, watching as Zoe, who was helping for the day, handed out cups of strawberry lemonade to a group of customers. "I've been talking with some of the other shop owners in the center. They're very impressed with your business model." Destiny wasn't entirely sure what a business model was, but she smiled politely. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. In fact," he continued, "several of them have expressed interest in selling your lemonade in their stores. Would you consider wholesaling your product?" Before Destiny could ask what wholesaling meant, Lizzie stepped in. "That's a big step for a small business, Mr. Thompson. Destiny would need to consider production capacity, distribution logistics, and quality control." Mr. Thompson looked surprised, then impressed. "You've got quite the business advisor," he said to Destiny. "She's absolutely right. Why don't you think about it and maybe discuss with your parents and—" He gestured toward where Mike was standing. "Your other advisors? No rush to decide today." As Mr. Thompson walked away, Destiny turned to Lizzie with wide eyes. "What did he mean? Other stores want to sell my lemonade?" Lizzie nodded. "It's a big opportunity, but also a big commitment. You'd need to make large batches of lemonade for them to sell. But let's talk about that later. Right now, you've got customers waiting." By late afternoon, Destiny had sold out of all 3 lemonade flavors. As she and her parents began packing up, Dr. Patel from the Children's Hospital arrived with a surprise. "I wanted to give you this in person," she said, handing Destiny an envelope. "It's an invitation to our annual fundraising gala next month. We'd like you to be our guest of honor." Destiny opened the envelope with trembling fingers. The invitation was printed on thick, fancy paper with gold lettering. "Me? But I'm just a kid with a lemonade stand." Dr. Patel smiled warmly. "You're much more than that, Destiny. Your story has inspired so many people to contribute to our hospital. Donations have increased by 30% since you started sharing your profits with us. You've made a real difference." That evening, as the fair wound down, the different groups gathered for a photo. Destiny stood in the center, surrounded by her parents. Zoe, the Steel Angels, the Road Warriors, Mr. Thompson, Dr. Patel, and many others who had become part of her expanding circle. "I can't believe this all started with a lemonade stand," her dad said, shaking his head in amazement. "And a group of bikers who stopped for a drink," her mom added, smiling at Mike. Mike placed a gentle hand on Destiny's shoulder. "Kid, I've been riding motorcycles for 30 years, and I've learned that the best journeys are the ones you never expected to take. I just stopped for lemonade that day. I had no idea we'd end up here." "Me neither," Destiny admitted, "but I'm glad we did." Later that night, after everything was packed away and the excitement had died down, Destiny sat on her bed, looking at the photo from the fair on her mom's phone. All those different people from all walks of life had come together because of her simple lemonade stand. Her mom sat down beside her. "What are you thinking about, sweetheart?" Destiny looked up, her eyes bright with understanding beyond her years. "I was thinking about what would have happened if you..."